heritage.
We are heritage!
Yeah! We are heritage. Shh.
We are heritage!
I am heritage.
Hey, I'm Mr. R. I'm one of the counselors here at Heritage. I'm hanging out with Gumby, and the real truth is that you are Heritage. What I mean by that is, if you weren't here, then we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here, administrators wouldn't be here, teachers wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for the students, we wouldn't have Heritage High School. So the fact that you are Heritage is part of the reason why we're doing this video. We're already starting to work on next year's classes. And the bottom line is, for you to have the most successful year possible, you got to pick the best classes possible. For the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey. Your homeroom teacher is going to be with you. We're going to help you fill out your course selection sheet for next year. Couple things, kind of ground rules before we get going. It's important to do this right the first time. We all know that when you need a schedule change next year, by the time you get to our office and you actually find the right counselor and you do the whole process, it can be a real pain. So from the beginning, let's try to think through this and be as accurate as possible the first time. Secondly, I want to keep in mind, you want to keep in mind what the graduation requirements are. As you're going through your course selection, we'll get into graduation requirements in a little bit, but think about what you need to graduate and plan accordingly. Also, another thing, at the end of this, we're going to ask you to take it home and we're going to get you to go through it with your parents, and we're going to have you sign and your parents sign that you've actually agreed on these courses. So make sure you take this home, talk about it with your parents, and then whatever the deadline is, we want you to be aware of that deadline. And your homeroom teacher has that deadline. It's printed on your sheet. But be very aware that we would like you to have that back to the counseling office by the deadline. Okay? So, get ready. We're gonna talk through your courses over the next few minutes, and hopefully Gumby and I will do our part to get you through. I'm going to give you a couple things. Before we start looking at the actual sheet, I'm going to give you a few instructions. At the top of the sheet, you should see your name on a label. If you do not have your name on that label, then make sure you tell somebody, because you'll be picking someone else's classes. So make sure you've got that name on the top is your name. And right next to it, there's a box that you should be able to put in your contact information. So right now, I need you to go ahead and put in contact information for how we can get a hold of you if there's a question as we're designing your schedule. On the bottom of that section, you'll see that it has a line for program of study. If you can pick a program of study, we want you to put it in that right now. If you're not sure by the end of this course selection video exactly what you're doing, don't worry. We'll get there. Okay? Oh, I was waiting for you to finish that section. All right, so we've got your name on the top. You've put in your contact information now. Let me do this real quick before we start. I want to take you through what the graduation requirements are. If you don't know what it takes to graduate, you're not going to know how to do this. So, real quick, I'm a visual kind of person, and so I've got my beautiful whiteboard back here. I'm going to write what the graduation requirements are. Graduation requirements. Number 1, you're going to need 4 Englishes to graduate high school. You're going to need 4 math credits to graduate high school. Of those 4 math credits, okay, so in order to graduate, you have to take a math all 4 years of high school now. And that's the sequence that you have to have in order to graduate. You're also going to need 3 sciences, so one of them has to be biology, and one of them has to be either chemistry or physics. Okay? Next graduation requirement, social studies. Okay? You're going to need 4 social studies those 4 in order to graduate. Okay, you with me? You're going to need physical fitness. One and a half credits of PE. 1.5 credits of PE. Most of you have taken a wellness, and then you'll do a half a credit of personal fitness. Okay? You're also going to need 1 fine arts credit. One fine arts credit for everybody who graduates. You need to do at least 1 fine arts credit. Foreign language. You're going to need 2 foreign language. All right? And then we're going to do, I'm getting squishy down here, a half a credit of personal finance, which you guys usually get in combination with that half a credit of personal fitness. And then we're going to do 3 credits in a program of study. As well, here in Blount County, there is one other requirement that Blount County asks for you to do, and it's 1 credit of computer apps. So you put that all together, and that's what you need to graduate. Okay? Okay, we're done with that. All right. We're done with graduation requirements now. What we're going to do is start with Section 1 of your course selection sheet. In Section 1, here's what I want you to do. We're going to pick an English class, a math class, and a science class. The way you're going to pick it is just circle the class that you need to take next year. By the end of the sheet, you will have circled 10 classes, and those will be your primary classes. You also will circle 4 classes and put an A next to them, and those will be your alternate classes. What we try to do is get your 10 first choices, and then if we can't do that, you pick 4 alternate choices. So anything that's circled that has an A next to it, we'll know that that's an alternate choice. Okay? So in Section 1, first thing I want to do is focus on English. All right? Those of you that are rising sophomores this year, most of you had full year English, and it was either an academic English class or an honors English class. So when you're looking at your English section, I want you to circle. If you've been in an academic English, just circle English 2. If you've been in an honors class, then you can circle English 2 honors. Don't forget that as we go along in course selection, if you have a class that's an honors class, then you're going to need a teacher to sign off that you have been recommended to go into that honors class. So that's step 1 is English. Okay? At this time, go ahead and circle the class that makes most sense for you for English. Right, done? Okay, we're going to go to math now. Math, most of you, again, took Algebra 1A and Algebra 1B as a full year math sequence. Okay? As rising sophomores, if you took Algebra 1A and Algebra 1B, then you're going to go into Algebra 2. So you should circle Algebra 2 on your sheet. Some of you guys, again, were in the honors sequence. If you were in the honors sequence, you took Algebra 1 honors and Geometry honors, you should go into Algebra 2 honors. So at this time, all sophomores next year will take Algebra 2. If there's a strange circumstance that you're not aware of, you'll just have to come and talk with us regarding your math sequence. But for the most part, that's the way everybody will go for next year. Science. Science is next. Okay? You should have picked an English, a math, and now we're going to do science. As sophomores in science, most of you have taken biology with environmental science. So your choice for science next year will either be to take chemistry 1. Okay? There's also a choice, if you would like to spread that chemistry out over a year, you can take chemistry A and chemistry B. It just depends on how well you do in science and how much you like science. So if you are good in science and you want to go on to chemistry 1, you can take the semester chemistry 1. If you're going to need to take chemistry at some point, and if it's something that you want to take but you'd rather spread it out over the year and take a little bit slower coursework, then you can take the chemistry A and the chemistry B. For those of you that were in honors biology, you'll definitely want to stay in the honors chemistry for next year. And again, you'll need a teacher recommendation. The question comes up, what teacher do I have recommend me for that class? The chemistry teacher I'm going to have next year, or the current teacher that you have? And I'll say this, for every class that you're going to take for next year, if you need a teacher recommendation, you need to talk to your current teacher in that subject. So, your current biology teacher or whoever you had teaching your science this year is the one who will make the recommendation for science next year. Okay? Some of you guys will want to go into physical science. You do not want to do chemistry next year. You want to wait until your junior year. It's okay. If you want to do that, you can take physical science next year. So at this point in the process, we should be completing section 1. You will have circled an English class, a math class, and a science class. Okay, I'm going to take a little break here. Put this on. Forgot to mention about science, one other option that you have as sophomores. As you can see, next year you'll have a lot of options for science, but one of them that you can also take is a physics. If you would prefer not to do chemistry at all and you would like to take physics, then you have the option to just take physics. So as freshmen this year, most of you took biology and environmental science. Next year, you can have the choice, lots of choices, but one of them will definitely be a physics class. If you're in the honors sequence, you're going to want to probably take chemistry honors first, and then junior year, take the physics honors class if you want to go on to physics. Okay? All right. Pause for just a second. All right. We should be ready for section 2 now of the course selection sheet. What we're looking at is social studies first. In this section, we're going to do social studies, we're going to do foreign language, and we're going to do PE. At the end of the section, you should have a selection made for all 3 of those if you choose to take in that section. First one we want to deal with is social studies. Okay? As a 9th grader, you took world geography. As a 10th grader, you have lots of options for social studies. And in fact, social studies is doing a lot of new things next year. And so I want to read through some of your options. Keeping in mind that in reality, for 10th graders, there isn't a required class for social studies, but there are lots of classes that you can take that are offered in the social studies department. The first being world history. If you want to go on and take world history, you can. There's also going to be a world history honors course, so you can take that. There are a couple classes that the social studies department always teaches, and you can choose those as sophomores. Bible history, contemporary issues, psychology, and sociology are classes that the social studies department offers. A lot of times those are going to count as a humanities program of study, and we'll get more into that later. There's a new class that the social studies department is offering called Appalachian Studies. I think around here you call that Appalachian Studies. Appalachian Studies is going to count as a social studies elective or towards a humanities program of study, and it's basically going to be about the study and the history of Appalachia. So if that's something you're interested in, sign up for the course. Another new class by the social studies department is going to be AP European History. All right, so if you want to do an AP class as a 10th grader in social studies, you're going to need to get your world geography teacher to sign you into the class to register you for it. But there is going to be an AP European History class, and that's going to be new next year. So those are 2 new courses for sophomores, rising sophomores, Appalachian Studies and AP European History. The AP European History class will be a year-long class, and it will have it'll be a year-long class. Okay. If you are interested in any of those courses, go ahead and circle them on your course selection sheet now. The next section we're going to do is foreign language. Now, as rising sophomores, you don't have as many options in foreign language. Really, the only option you have is French 1. And if you want to take both French 1 and French 2 in the same year, then you would select both of those. But if you want to get started on a foreign language, then your option is going to be French. And you can choose either French 1 or French 2. All right, and then lastly in this section, I want to take some time to talk about PE because there's several different options that I want you to be aware of. First of all, most sophomores are going to take the personal fitness and personal finance. So you need to automatically choose that option because that's a requirement for sophomore year. Personal fitness and personal finance. If you want to take additional PE classes, there are several different options for you. You can take team sports as a sophomore, or you can take strength and conditioning. All right, let me break this down though for strength and conditioning. I might need to break out a whiteboard here for just a second. Hold on. All right, you good? We rolling? Okay, I was saying strength and conditioning. The strength and conditioning is going to be really important because we're doing some changes. If you guys are athletes and you want to take strength and conditioning and your coaches have told you that you need to take strength and conditioning, I need you to listen up for a second because we're going to have several different options for you. If you are this is going to be for strength and conditioning. Okay, number one, if you are a football player, I want you to select the strength and conditioning that has football in the description. You need to circle that strength and conditioning. Okay? If you play boys basketball, then you need to choose the strength and conditioning that has boys basketball in the description. Okay? If you play girls basketball, then you need to choose the one that has girls basketball in the description. Okay? And lastly, if you just play a sport that is not one of these three sports, but your coach has told you that they want you in strength and conditioning, then you need to choose strength and conditioning for athletes. Okay? And one more thing, if you are an athlete and you need to take strength and conditioning in the fall and the spring, then I just want you to circle the description that says fall, spring, or it says fall and spring. This isn't going to count as one of your classes, but it just lets us know that whatever one of these strength and conditionings you're in, you need it to be in both fall and spring. All right? Now, if you're not an athlete, but you still want to choose to take strength and conditioning, then you are going to pick the strength and conditioning that is for non-athletes. We want everybody to have a chance to take strength and conditioning. Just because you don't compete in a sport doesn't mean you can't take it. But we need you to make sure to select the strength and conditioning that says non-athlete in the description. Go. Alright, we're done with that section. At this point, you should have filled out sections 1 and 2. We're now going on to section 3. Again, this is Mr. R. I've got a new shirt on because it's a new day of taping, but you're still watching the same video. So section 3 is going to be where we put in other requirements that you need to graduate that as a 9th grader you might not have gotten. So what I want to do is list for you the other graduation requirements that are not a part of a specific, what am I saying? That are not a part of a specific other graduation requirements that you're going to need to graduate. First of all, as a 9th grader, if you did not take wellness, then you need to take wellness. You need to circle that. If you did not take computer applications, you need to circle that. And if you did not take a fine arts of some kind, you need to circle that. Fine arts are anything that has theater, music, or art are your 3 options. And within the music, there are several different classes that you can take. You can take a choir class, you can take a general music class, a history of music class, and also a solo class that will count as your fine arts credit. So need to make sure that you are circling those only if you have not had them. If you've already taken them, then you're good. Are we ready for Section 4? Section 4 is basically designed around being able to recover credits that you failed. As a current 9th grader, if you have failed a class that you did not get a chance to make up, okay, number one, we want you to go to summer school if possible. Okay, if you know that you cannot do summer school, then you need to look at the list of classes that are listed and circle any of the classes that you have not passed that you need to make up. All right, that completes Section 4. We're on to Section 5. Section 5 is going to be pretty important because it deals with all of the programs of study. Okay? There are lots of different ways that you can do the program of study, but if you remember, one of the graduation requirements is that you pick and complete 3 credits in the same area called a program of study. Okay, so programs of study, we're going to go back to my fancy whiteboard here. Okay? Okay, and I'm going to try to show you what the different programs of study are. First one I want to talk about is ROTC. The new structure for ROTC is going to work like this. Okay, as usual, sophomores, if you're in the ROTC program, you're going to select ROTC 2 or Aerospace 2. Okay. However, under the new structure of the ROTC program, here's how it's going to work. You're only going to need 3 credits to finish the program instead of 4. Now you're going to need 3. Okay? The first 2 will cover your wellness credit. You'll still need to do 2 levels to cover your wellness. Okay? The third one is going to cover your personal fitness and your personal finance. So once you complete the 3rd level of ROTC, you will complete the program of study, plus you'll get credit for wellness and personal fitness and personal finance. The 4th level will be more of a senior leadership type of position, but it will not be required to finish the program of study. Okay? Next program of study is Fine Arts. Okay? The only thing you need to know about this is you still have to do 1 Fine Arts for your graduation requirement, and then you need 3 additional credits in Fine Arts to complete the program of study. So a total of 4 Fine Arts credit is required to complete this program of study. What's next? Okay. Yes, that awesome idea. Love it. Love it. All right. Number 3 is going to be a humanities program of study. Now, here's the way it works. You'll see the list on your sheet, but classes like creative writing, mythology, speech are some of the English classes. There's 2 types of mythology classes this year. They're doing a regular mythology and they're doing a world mythology. Those are all going to count as humanities credits. In the social studies department, the psychology, sociology, contemporary issues, Bible history, the new class Appalachian Studies, those will all count as humanities credits. So if you're interested in pursuing that program of study, you're going to need 3 of those credits to count as humanities program of study. Yeah. Right? We also have math and science. In order to do a math and science program of study, you have to complete 3 credits above and beyond the requirements for math and science. And then the same thing applies for the AP or Advanced Placement program of study. If you have 3 credits in Advanced Placement classes, then you'll complete the program of study in AP. So the last big one, okay, which has lots of different areas, is a program of study in an area of CTE or career technical education. If you know your program of study is going to be one of these 5, then on the bottom of your course selection sheet, you need to circle the next appropriate class or the classes that you need in order to complete that program of study. Okay? If you are in a program of study that's in CTE, then you need to turn your course selection sheet to the next page, and you will see all of the classes that are broken down into the clusters of their program of study. Go ahead now and take a few minutes to look over that program of study, look at all of the different options, and choose the classes that you're going to take next year.
We are Heritage.
I'm Miss Hedrick, and I work with the 9th graders.
I'm Ms. Kybers, and I work with students with last names A through G.
I'm Mr. R. If you're H through O, you belong to me.
I'm Ms. Whitehouse, P through Z.
So by now you've completed your course request forms. You've circled 10 classes with 4 alternates marked with an A.
And we know you may have some questions. That's why we're going to be here in the cafeteria for the next week to help you out. In the mornings, at lunch, and after school.
And make sure to pay attention to that deadline that's at the bottom of your paper.
We hope you have a great year next year. You finish your course selection. Congratulations. We'll see you then.
How long you make them stand? Let's see how long you can make them stand. Get my belly all the way in there.